Lullaby by W.H. Auden. This is a piece under the Realists playlist on the Pratyancha channel. The piece speaks of love, it speaks of philosophy, and it speaks of a man who feels the weight of reality on his shoulders. It speaks of an unhappy man. W.H. Auden, in writing Lullaby, plays the role of a lover who cares for his beloved, and he calls out to her or to him, that is not specified in the poem, but someone that you truly love. And yet he himself, inside of him, is feeling that it is very difficult to be happy in the world that we are in. And he also wishes that his beloved does not feel this weight anytime, that he's satisfied in the world that he occupies, that he finds happiness in the experience he or she has. But the poet himself does feel weighed down by all the reality that he has realized in the experiences that he has lived through in his life. Lay your sleeping head, my love, human, on my faithless arm. Time and fevers burn away individual beauty from thoughtful children. Lay your sleeping head, my love. So he's calling out to his love, please come here and lay your sleeping head on my arm. And you are a human. I know that you are also happy with the things that I'm happy with, unhappy with the things that I'm unhappy with. Both of us are mortal humans and we know the human condition. But at the same time, he calls his arm faithless. And that is where the poem introduces itself. Auden feels that he has known too much reality to have faith in anything. It is difficult for him to believe in the truth of anything. It is difficult for him to be able to fully predict anything. He feels that there is nothing that you can really rely upon in this world, and there is nothing that you can truly, completely place your faith in. Reality will still surprise you, reality will still shock you, and reality will still pull the rug from under your feet. There is no way to find faith in this world. And therefore he says that you are human and you are my love. Please come, lay your head here. I know you're also tired. Maybe you're suffering. I know you also have a hard life like I do. In whatever ways our lives may be different, but the human condition that underlies both of us is same. And yet he calls the beloved to lay the head on his faithless arm. And faithless, like I said, is used to denote that it's very difficult living in this world and having had experiences in this world to actually rely upon anything. And then he says, time and fevers burn away individual beauty from thoughtful children. Time is a ravaging course. Time takes its toll on people's age, on people's beauty, on people's thoughts and beliefs. Time ages you, time tires you out, and eventually there'll be a day when you shall be no more. And then the second thing he says, fevers. These can denote either maladies, which is diseases that strike you during your lifetime. Fevers could also mean things that we are obsessed with, things that we want to pursue with a feverish pitch inside of us. That also tires us down, that also burns us away. So both these things, they burn away the individual beauty from thoughtful children. As children, we are thoughtful, we are very hopeful, we still have innocence about us, and we are thinking things the way we want to achieve them, the way we want to pursue them. But over the course of time, yes, we lose our innocence, we lose our beauty, and we also tire ourselves out. And they burn us away, which means that they take a toll on us. And the grave proves the child ephemeral. But in my arms till break of day, let the living creature lie, mortal, guilty, but to me the entirely beautiful. And the grave proves the child ephemeral. Ephemeral, something which passes very quickly, which is transient, which cannot live forever. So finally, we all have to reach the grave. We are all mortal. This life is not to be forever and ever. There will be a day when we would all die. But the point here to notice is that he uses the word child. In the line before it, when he said that we are thoughtful children and during the course of time we age and time takes its toll on us, it's still understandable. From a child, we are growing into an adult and then into later life. But why does he say that it is the child that meets the grave? This is again to denote that no matter how much you know about the world, you still remain a child. You don't know enough. You just don't know enough to ensure your happiness. And therefore, the grave proves the child to be ephemeral. The grave proves not only your life to be ephemeral, but the fact that all your life you have lived, you've experienced, you've thought, you've learned, and yet you have not grown enough to understand the truth of this existence. And then he tells his beloved that till the break of day in my arms you can lie, till morning dawns, till during the night you can really sleep next to me, you can rely on me. I want to really support you, love you, and hug you. And you are the living creature. Let the living creature lie, mortal, guilty, but to me the entirely beautiful. You're mortal, which means that you have a mortal life. Someday it's gonna end. Guilty. There are times when you do wrong. There are times when you do things which you should not have done, which you possibly regret, which you don't regret. But yes, you've done things wrong, but that also is okay. There is no life where no wrong has been done by the person that we are speaking about. So I know you're mortal, I know you're guilty, but to me, you're the entirely beautiful. I also feel sometimes here that W.H. Auden is perhaps talking to himself. He's separating his mortal body from the fact that he is a living soul, and he's talking to himself that yes, I know my dear, inside of me you're suffering because a part of you knows that this world makes you faithless, but then I still want to hug you to sleep, I still want to comfort you to sleep, and let's accept ourselves that yes, we are mortal, yes, we are guilty, but we are also very beautiful. We have had a life which has been of hard work, of toil, of gathering these experiences, and let us for this particular night just rest. It's just fine if the troubles of the world bother us, but then let us for this life at least rest. There is a good possibility he's talking to himself. I leave it to you to make the decision. Next, he says, soul and body have no bounds. Soul and body have no bounds. To lovers as they lie upon her tolerant enchanted slope, in their ordinary swoon, grave the vision Venus sends of supernatural sympathy, universal love and hope. While an abstract insight wakes among the glaciers and the rocks the hermit's carnal ecstasy. Soul and body have no bounds. Here, W.H. Auden is trying to say that you can be at any place at any given point in time, but your thoughts could be completely elsewhere. Also, the experiences that a soul has are of a very enigmatic nature. There are times when it's a very happy occasion around you, but you are very sad inside. And there are times when things are extremely sad, difficult, troublesome around you, and yet you feel that you're calm and peaceful inside of yourself. So he says that it's really impossible to place some sort of compartmentalization to what the soul and the body can do. And here the punctuation marks are very, very important. See, he puts a colon at the end of the first line. The soul and body have no bounds, colon. And then he compares two situations and presents you these two situations. The first situation is of a couple, they are lovers, and they are blessed by Venus, the goddess of love, and they are lying in each other's embrace. They love each other very much, and they are in their ordinary swoon, like couples make love to each other and they swoon over each other. It is a commonplace experience, and in their ordinary swoon they are blessed by Venus and they are lying next to each other. Even in that very sexual moment, even in the moment defined by physical love, there are times when Venus sends them a message that yes, this carnal love is all good, but you need to be thinking about universal love, you need to be thinking about hope, and you need to be thinking about supernatural sympathy. There are times when this particular incident of physical love takes them to realize, takes them to think about, or takes them to muse about something which is larger than them. The powers of the cosmos, how they work, and if at all their universal love exists, if at all there is something which is of a supernatural nature and they need to have that sympathy for other people around them and not just for the lover that they have in bed. The next line says, while an abstract insight wakes among the glaciers and the rocks the hermit's carnal ecstasy. Now this is the second scenario that the poet is building up. So after the colon, when in the first line he says that the soul and the body cannot really be put into a compartment, and I gave you the example that he's saying that your thoughts and your feelings could be very different from the immediate situation that you are in. So the first situation he's described to us is of a couple who are in each other's embrace for making love to each other, and they start to think of things which are larger than carnal love, which are larger than physical love. But on the other hand, there is a hermit. There is someone who's renounced the world, who's living in the mountains among glaciers and rocks, a very difficult life. And there, in a moment, he suddenly feels the urge to make sexual love to someone. He suddenly feels inside of him the urge that bodily pleasures can also give him happiness apart from the renunciated life that he's living. So he's saying that it's really not possible for us to contain or predict anything. Two lovers in a physical moment of love can become very spiritual, can become universal in their thought, or can have such thoughts coming to them, while a hermit who's supposed to be spiritual, who's supposed to have renounced the world, can think of something as individual and as particular as making love to someone, as having an experience that provides him with sexual pleasure. So this is what, in this particular stanza, Auden is trying to tell us, that yes, we do think of life in ways that we want to get happiness out of it. We do think of life in ways that we want to predict it in a certain way, to understand it in a certain way. But here he says that no matter how much you understand, no matter whatever situations you create for yourself where you think you might find happiness, life can take a course which is different from your expectation. Life can take a course which sometimes cannot be defined by reason. And he introduces the paragraph by the line, soul and body have no bounds. You simply can think of any thought, you can experience any emotion, anytime, anywhere. Let's look at the next stanza. Certainty, fidelity, on the stroke of midnight pass like vibrations of a bell, and fashionable madmen raise their pedantic, boring cry. He says, yes, we love certainty in life. We love the fact that a certain person is displaying fidelity, that he's loyal to us, that we can trust him, we can rely upon him. But let me tell you, there is no certainty and there is no absolute trust. These pass like the vibrations of a bell. When you ring a bell, it vibrates for a time period, but then the vibrations, they slowly reduce and finally are no more. Simply, I must tell you that certainty and fidelity are some things that do not last forever, that they also are ephemeral, that they also are transitory. But then there are fashionable madmen. Here the word madmen can possibly denote religious figures who lecture you on how you should live your life, some sort of spiritual guides or life coaches like we have them in the days that we are living in. People who tell you what is right from what is wrong, what is to be done as a good karma and what is bad karma, and what should be the way you should live your life, and what are the moral ways in which you can actually advance yourself towards spirituality or towards achieving God. And he says these are all preachers. Preaching is very easy, and he says they are madmen. Yes, they will raise their voice and they will tell you in their pedantic tone. Pedantic tone, very academic, very by the text, by the book, and therefore I feel the madman does denote religious figures here, the word madman. So they will raise their cry. It's going to be pedantic, which means it's going to be very preachy, and it's going to be a rather boring cry. He uses the other word boring, that you've heard these lectures many times and you know that they don't take you far. And he will raise his cry, and then again there is a colon. Just see that at the end of this line also there is a colon. He says, and fashionable madmen raise their pedantic boring cry. What is that cry? Every farthing of the cost, all the dreaded cards foretell shall be paid. The madmen tell you that you will have to pay the price of all that you are doing. Every farthing, every penny, every little amount of money that you owe someone, or money is just a metaphor, every little thing that you've done wrong, you'll have to pay for it. And all the dreaded cards foretell. So here the madman also, the word madman can also denote maybe people who tell you your fortune and who scare you into doing good things because they see that they can, that they say that they can see your future. So they tell you that you'll have to pay the price for this. So do the right things in life. Do not do the wrong things. But then the poet ends the line by saying, and he separates this particular conclusion of the stanza with just a comma. He says, yes, these madmen will cry, and their cry would be that every farthing of the cost, all the dreaded cards fortune shall be paid. But, and the poet starts the line after the comma with a but from this night, not a whisper, not a thought, not a kiss, nor look be lost. Whatever they say, let me tell you, whatever we hold in the present is real. What is the here and the now is real. They might tell you that the future is bleak, that you should follow a certain moral path, but from this particular night that I share with you, my beloved, we will not lose a kiss, we will not lose a whisper, a thought, or a look, nothing. We have the right to live this night fully. We have the right to be with each other, to show our love to each other, not worrying about the world. Yes, I know the world is very difficult. Yes, I know it's difficult to find faith in this world. And then you're also worried about if I'm doing the right things, if I'm not doing the right things. And you feel that, like people tell you, you might have to pay for it. But rest assured, from this night, we don't need to lose anything. We can be there for each other, and that is what is important in life, that this particular moment, this present, should give you the promise of trust. Don't ask for trust or certainty or fidelity all across your life, but make sure that the present that you are in, that promise is being fulfilled in both giving and taking. So from this night, nothing is going to be taken away, but I really do not know what happens in the future. Then he says, beauty, midnight, vision dies. Let the winds of dawn that blow softly round your dreaming head such a day of welcome show. Iron knocking heart may bless, find the mortal world enough. Again he uses a colon at the end of the first line. Beauty, midnight, vision dies. Which means that nothing is going to be forever, my dear. I know this world is going to be very difficult. Nothing lasts. Beauty will not last, the midnight will pass on, and visions that we have, plans that we have that maybe materialize, maybe don't materialize, everything dies away. And in a world like this is what I wish for you. And he puts the colon. So what he wishes for his beloved is that when the winds of dawn blow, when morning comes for you, may that day be blessed, may that day be beautiful, that eye and knocking heart together, they like it. They like looking at the day and they like feeling the day in the heart. So emotionally it blesses you with happiness, and when you look at it, when you experience it through your senses, it is not a difficult day for you, but it's something that gives you pleasure. And what is his definition of that pleasure? That you may find the mortal world enough. I have not found it enough. I have not found it in a way that I feel satisfied with it. I have felt faithless in it. That's the line that he begins the poem with. That I feel very troubled by it. I feel that it does not offer me anything to trust endlessly. But I wish that this is not the way it is for you. I hope you find it enough. I hope you find the mortal world enough for you to be happy in it, for you to find your answers in it, for you to live in it, work in it. And this is the wish. Look at the words he uses. What poetic way of saying that I wish you happiness. I wish you find the mortal world enough, which to me has not been enough. And he says it very nicely that everything is transitory, but what I wish for you is this, that when the morning comes, it comes with a day with which both your eye and your heart truly like, and it is a day in which you feel that the world can give you happiness, that it can give you satisfaction, that it can give you pleasure, that it can allow you to work towards your dreams. And then he continues his wish saying, noons of dryness find you fed by the involuntary powers. Nights of insult let you pass, watched by every human love. I wish that when in your life there is a dry spell, it is not a very potent time in your life, it is not a very fertile time in your life, when perhaps the results are not very easy to come by, I wish that you still feel very well fed, that you don't feel desperate, that you are not plagued by hunger not only of the physical kind but hunger of the spiritual kind, that you are at rest, that you are at peace even when the times are not very easy on you. These are the dry spells of life. Also, you're fed by the involuntary powers. powers that we have no control over. But it's interesting that he calls them involuntary. Voluntary things that we can decide and do, involuntary things which happen of their own accord, which we don't wish but they still happen. So he's not really saying here the things that rule you, but he's saying the things that do come about, whether you want them to come about or not, and that is involuntary. I really wish that those powers work in your favor and in your dry spells, in spells where life is not being very kind to you. You still don't feel very desperate, you still don't feel that you don't have any happiness, rather you feel well fed. And the last wish he makes for the beloved is that nights of insult let you pass, watched by every human love. There'll be times when you might feel that you've done something, either consciously or unconsciously, by way of which the world thinks it has a right to insult you. That would be a night that you really will have to walk across. And when you're doing that, I really hope that you have the support of your loved ones. I really hope in that night when you're facing a lot of ignominy, when you're facing insult, you don't really feel loveless. There are still people who stand by you, who love you and help you pass this night of love. This is Lullaby by W.H. Auden. It's a poem, like I said, which speaks of love. He truly loves his beloved. It's a poem which speaks of the philosophy of life, that there is absolutely nothing that you can totally predict. There is absolutely nothing that you can totally trust. Certainty, fidelity, all have a time. Beauty, visions, all pass away. Everything is transitory. But then this is what he wishes for his beloved. Lullaby by W.H. Auden. Please do follow the Realists playlist on the Pratyancha channel. If you like this video, kindly convey this to us, share it with your friends, and if you have something to tell me, please comment in the comment box below. Keep watching these videos, I'll keep bringing them to you. Thank you.